Hey there, my name is Jessup Flower. I am a screenwriter, educator, and all-around learning, training, and development nut, and welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast. That's right. Welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. I am extremely excited about our guest for a number of reasons. Thomas Marchese is going to be our guest today. He is a filmmaker best known for his films Fallen, which won the jury prize for the best feature documentary at the Hollywood Film Festival, and the overall audience award for the best feature film at the Phoenix Film Festival. Then it went on to enjoy success on both Netflix and Amazon. You can still even find it there today. And then his second feature film, From Black, released on AMC and Shudder in 2023. And he is in pre-production on another feature film that maybe we'll talk about during plugs, hopefully, not sure. Please welcome to the show writer-director Thomas Marchese. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Welcome.
We got applause and everything. That's funny. What's up, man?
It's just one of those cheesy toys. Hey, full disclosure,
I was
right?
just going to say, don't we want a full disclosure announcement?
Full disclosure, we know each other. We actually wrote From Black together. So just so everybody knows and everything like that. Not that everybody's clamoring to know that information, but yeah. So Thomas, basically we met, we got along right off the bat. He had this great idea for this movie that basically started off as True Detective and ended up as Hereditary, and that hooked me. He sent me 30 some odd pages of his draft, and then we just coordinated, can't talk, but we coordinated and wrote the rest of it, and Thomas directed the crap out of it. So well done, man. Thanks for joining me.
Great experience. Hey, I gotta lay something out for people that don't know, or that nobody would know this, but it's just I just feel like I have to say it. At the time before we had met, I was looking for a collaborator, and I just had too much on my plate, and I had this idea that I wanted to develop into a feature, and I was actively looking for writers, and I had put all kinds of feelers out, and I probably had 200 scripts submitted to me, and they were really rough to get through. and Jess's script that came through was just amazing. It was incredible. So it was like, it wasn't just like, I finally got one that, maybe there's a nugget. It was a full blown, like ready to shoot. There was a great script. We're actually still kicking that around and trying to get that one made right now.
We are. That's true.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, man.
So
that was
good,
really
so
kind
good.
of you to say.
So it was exciting to me because it was like, there's hope. It's not like I was starting to think like, oh man, because writing's hard, man. It's like not everybody wants a partner, and I don't want a partner in everything that I do, and just like I'm sure you don't either. But it's when you want somebody to work with, it's nearly impossible to find someone you click with, someone who's
that's true.
Kind of your aesthetic is kind of jives, and anyway, so yeah. I have huge respect for your writing, man.
You're so nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thomas, though, one thing that's kind of interesting about you is the fact that you didn't start off life as a filmmaker, right? You kind of had this whole other life and everything. And we're not going to get into all of that on this podcast. In fact, some of it you can see in Fallen, right? Like some of your story you can actually see in your documentary, right?
Yeah. I've got a couple of past lives, but yeah, I was a homicide detective for a lot of years. And I was actually I had studied film prior to being a cop, and then I was actually in the process of making a documentary on line of duty police officer deaths when I was stabbed and I almost died. And it's a crazy story. My wife was the responding fire medic and engineer, and she loaded me on the chopper, and it was bad. It was almost a really, really bad day, but it ended up going in the movie. And it's funny looking back at that doc. If that hadn't happened, it would be a pretty shitty documentary. It would be kind of, I don't even know why it would be particularly interesting, but it was kind of serendipitous that I almost died making it. So,
well, I mean, I appreciate you saying that, but I disagree. I mean, I thought it was an awesome documentary. I do recommend it. We're getting into plugs early here, but if you have not seen Fallen, make sure you look for it because it's a really, really good movie. And Yeah, it's got some twists and turns in it that you wouldn't expect, not just even your story. So,
And it's
but
completely and utterly apolitical. That's
yeah,
too.
it
So
really
anyway.
is. Yeah, it's something that just talks about the tragedy of officers' death and people dying and in the line of duty, and it's really good. There's a reason why it won all those awards. Going back
Thanks,
though,
man.
like if you look at your history, I mean, is that something you always wanted to do? Like when you were in school and stuff, did you always want to get into law enforcement and stuff?
No, it was very much
Mm,
my kind of safety net, even though I
mm,
didn't really do much to prepare to do that. And then it's funny because it was always in my head, my safety net, and then, um, but I ended up kind of falling into it also. So it was
mm.
like right around uh, 9/11. I had another business that I was involved in that we lost all our advertisers, and it just really face planted for
Oh
during
wow.
like those couple weeks after 9/11. And I got a phone call randomly from my old hometown police department where I had taken all kinds of college administration justice courses and stuff. So my instructors
Hmm.
from there knew that that was kind of on my back burner, and they called and said, "Hey, you want to come? You still want to be a cop?" And I just kind of didn't have anything cooking at the time. And I'm like, yeah. And that turned into, 16-year career, which is
16
really
years.
strange how life works out that way. But no, I wanted to make movies.
So all through school, did you want to do that like from an early age?
Yeah, but I was kind of in that boat where it for a lot of kids, it doesn't seem like a career. It doesn't seem like a job. It doesn't seem like, you watch movies and you put them on this fantastical pedestal, and it's like, for a kid, it's really hard to kind of get through your head that there are people that do that for a living. It's
Hmm.
kind of, it's a very amorphous kind of divorced from reality kind of notion, like that you could go learn the craft and make movies or be part of
Yeah.
making movies. And um yeah, so it was always kind of there were always times where I almost took a dive, moved to LA and did all the things, and then I didn't,
Okay.
and I kind of was chicken about it. And anyway, so it's really strange how life can come full circle that way. It's very
When do
strange.
you remember, was there like a particular time that you remember going, I know what it takes to make movies and I want to be involved in that?
No, honestly, where it started for me was in high school. Um, I was really, really into model making, like
Oh,
into the notion of doing special effects models when they were still making models, even though now it's kind of swung back around, and a
resurgent.
lot,
Yeah.
and they're doing a lot of practical models, and then like folding it into the CG, and which is really cool. But at the time, it's really what I wanted to do because I'm a child of the '80s, and all the amazing sci-fi stuff that was being done in that time period. So all the original Star Wars trilogy, and The Thing and Blade
Sure.
Runner, and that's my whole world. Like, and it was from a very early age. So
Wow.
and that's the part of it that really got me. I never really when I was young, I never really immerse myself into camera or lensing or anything
Okay.
like that. I really wanted to go into physical effects, models in particular.
This is random, but do you remember the very first thing you ever made, like in that world?
Yeah, it was probably the big intimidating, I forget, the Bondi, like a Millennium Falcon, like the big,
Oh,
and it
an
took me
actual
forever.
model, like a
Oh yeah.
pre-purchased
Are
model, you mean?
you're talking about like
No, I mean,
scratch
yeah,
build?
something you crafted.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I don't remember. I really don't remember because
Really?
mostly when I was younger, I didn't start doing that till later in life. Actually,
Okay.
mostly when I was younger, I didn't do so much like stone cold from scratch because there were no
Okay.
resources to learn anything.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube. There was nothing like that. So it was like
No.
it was. I remember that being a big frustration too. That there were no resources. I mean,
Would you like get like the magazines that I get like Cinefest,
yeah, Cinema,
Fantastique and
Cinema
those?
Fantastique and
Oh, was it the
oh,
splatter?
there was another one with Cine in it. What was that? Uh,
Cineflex?
I think it was Cinefex, but I'm not positive. I'm
Cinefex. I
pretty
think you're
sure.
right. I think you're right.
Yeah,
So
actually, I
you
still
probably
have a big
devoured those,
stack of
right?
Cinefex that I still have. They're kind of a
Yeah.
weird size, and it was awesome. I love them. I love them. I love them.
That's awesome. So
And I do
like your
remember that
dream.
I got like American Cinematographer too a long time ago, but I kind
Oh,
of
okay.
didn't vibe with that until, and then later, when I really got
As you
into
started getting the
filmmaking, that
cameras
was
and
like
stuff.
I can't get enough of that
So
magazine.
your
So
dream job, like, and this was like, I'm guessing high school or even earlier, like when you were really thinking about getting into this kind of stuff.
High school is when it started to seem like it could be a real thing, but that was only because of
Okay.
one specific teacher that I had. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, it was kind of, he
Is
was the person that kind of like made me realize like, hey, you can do that.
So we're going to jump right to it. I mean, is that your subject? Is that your favorite teacher, or are there different
Yeah,
ones?
probably my most influential. Yeah, probably. And it's funny, we're still friends on Facebook, and really, really good dude. Yeah.
So Thomas Marchese, who is your favorite teacher?
Norman Maul is my favorite teacher, Mr. Maul. Yeah, just kind of an older hippie guy, like kind of from that era, and just was, yeah, man, he just was so encouraging, and so it's an art teacher, but he wasn't just an art teacher. A lot of times, I've found throughout my education that a lot of times the art teacher is well, it's one of several things. It's either like a gym teacher or something that they're like, oh, we need it. We got a hole in the art department. You got to go and teach art. And they could give two shits about it. Or, or it's like the flighty kind of dreamy person that's kind of detached from stuff. And he was kind of like right in the middle of all that. Like
Interesting.
he had shit to say.
Uh-huh.
It was great to be exposed to somebody like that, because he had gone
Okay.
through and like passionately lived through the 60s and all that, all the things that we kind of, because in the 80s it was like the most cake time to be alive. I mean, aside from like the
Yeah.
Cold War and all that, we had it pretty good, man. There were
Yeah.
no big conflicts. We didn't really, the world seemed a little cushier than maybe it was in reality. But anyway, so he really introduced a lot of things to me other than just art. Like we talked about all kinds of things, and it was
And when you
great.
say we, like, would he do that with the class, or was it like, hey, hang out afterwards, or you just enjoyed his company, so you would hang out and ask him questions and stuff like that?
A little of both, but what I'm finding that is very interesting is because you have a teacher like that, and you feel like when they really connect with you like that, and give you their time and their experience, and they're generous like that, you tend to feel like you have a special connection with that teacher, which is just how humans operate.
Absolutely.
Later in life, I've seen him interact with other people, like on Facebook and things. And I really, really get the sense, and what's very interesting, I really get the sense that all of his students felt that way, which you could one way you could take that is, oh, that diminishes what I thought that the connection we had. But I
can see that.
absolutely don't think of it that way. I think of like, wow, this guy is really that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's really cool, and it's rare too. I mean, I think in all the life experience I've had in a classroom, that's been a rarity for me, that I've really had a connection like that with somebody so very,
Now,
very
what do you
cool.
think his background was? Like, how do you think he became an art teacher? You said that he obviously lived,
Well,
vicariously through the 60s, but not vicariously, but
when I say he's really that guy, I mean, he really is that guy. Like right now, if you were to go, check up on him and see what he's up to, he's like hardcore into pottery, and he has his own kiln where he fires his own stuff, and he does just amazing artwork, and he's constantly taking really interesting photos, and he's just an artist. The guy's he just sees art in everything, and it's really inspiring, because I tend to have a real kind of grumpy, pessimistic streak in me, where a lot of times, which you're well aware of, but I sometimes it takes stimulation for me to see the beauty in things, and especially if I'm tunnel vision, regarding one particular frustration in something or the other. But so it's really cool to see somebody like that you can really tell just sees beauty all over everywhere.
that's
Like
amazing.
like if he's not the kind of guy that'll walk past a puddle with some oil in it, because he'll go, wow, that's kind of beautiful, and then he'll take an abstract photo of it, kind of thing, right? So whereas I'll walk over that puddle all day, even though I consider myself artistic, and I have a different eye than most people, being a cinematographer, and but he's really that guy. Like, you know what I mean? That's why it's really cool to just to have had somebody like that in my life, and especially in education. It's great.
So in addition to being inspiring and just kind of being that guy and just really being an artist and appreciating the beauty in the things, I mean, he was a good instructor too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and very great, and would really encourage us to learn new things and learn. It's not every day that it's not every art teacher in high school that has like a huge section on like airbrushing and things, because it's a pain in the ass to keep up with an airbrush and clean it and learn how to use it and all that. But he just,
and
things like
trust
that.
it in the hands of people that don't know what they're doing for the most part. Probably.
Exactly. And beyond all that, another reason that he really stuck with me is that, he literally picked up the telephone. He got on the phone with ILM and tried to figure out if there was some kind of internship situation that we could work out or something, and told them, I've got this kid and he's really into model making. And, yeah, it was crazy. He had like 3 or 4 conversations with them to where they said, you know what, tell him to come down. We'll give him a tour of the studio. And in those days, I think back on that all the time, because in the 90s,
I don't think that happened back then.
Dude, but the people that it did happen for, because they had an in or something,
right?
Which is the only way that it would happen, by the way. So it was crazy, and I never. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. But the people that almost everyone that I've heard speak that worked for ILM started with like a walkthrough internship like that. It wasn't even an internship, a walkthrough, and then they got chatting with so-and-so, and then so-and-so said, hey, come in and shadow me on something. And that kind of turned into an internship. That's how it was for Adam Savage and several different people I've heard talk like that. So, I very much often think about what my life trajectory would have been like if Jurassic Park had never come out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course. Jurassic Park
came
famously
out and blew my mind like everyone else, but destroyed my dreams. In my head, it didn't really, because I could have still pursued it, but it absolutely took all the wind out of my sails, like completely.
I think a lot of people that were in that world really thought the same thing. Just thought, well, that's it.
Yeah,
we're never making things physically again.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, at the time, 92, I just wasn't a computer guy. I just didn't care about computers. I had no interest. Now I edit. On the computer. I live on the damn computer, and I do tons of graphic art and poster art and all kinds of stuff. But at the time, it just seemed like a death sentence for the profession of model making in particular. And people that were in the business will tell you that's how they felt too. I mean, it was. If you listen to Phil Tippett talk or something, I mean, the world ended. He was supposed to do stop motion for Jurassic Park, which obviously would have been far inferior, and it wouldn't have pushed the medium forward or been, it
would have been the Jurassic Park that we know, blah blah blah.
Exactly. It would look like a Harryhausen movie or whatever. It would look like King Kong, and it would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been great. It wouldn't have been mind blowing like it is. I mean, it still holds up. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It does. But, when that happened, when that movie came out, you were out of high school by then. I can't remember when Jurassic Park came out.
I think it was 92, I believe. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
So weird question. I mean, were you still engaged with him as a teacher when that came out?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember having any discussion about that?
Yeah, I do. And he tried to be supportive and positive about it, but I kind of. And I only vaguely remember, but
How do you usually react to people trying to be like positive and supportive about something and like, silver linings?
Are you secretly wanting to answer that question for me?
No.
I'm kidding. No, I'm
just
not like Captain Negative, but
you're not. I know.
It does sometimes irk me when I feel like someone's trying to minimize a problem. Like I'm like, no, it's really a fucking problem. Like it's not like no biggie, like smile. It's a legit problem that we have to get through. So I struggle with that, but
so I derailed that. Do you remember the discussion with him about that? Sorry.
Very vaguely, but I do remember it being, not feeling like he let me down or anything like that, but I remember it being kind of reciprocated. Like he felt the same way. Like he was like,
interesting,
dude, because if you think about it, he's a tactile artist in every sense, every sense of that notion. And I'm sure that he was a little heartbroken for me and kind of could see it coming too. Right. It's like, it's like right now, like, what do you think it must be like in a program in a college where you've got a teacher that's trying to inspire you, but you're trying to get a degree in coding. That's a
Yeah.
worthless degree tomorrow. Like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, I mean, worthless,
Yeah.
completely worthless. And that's a horrible thing to go through. So on a much, smaller, to a much smaller degree, I'm sure he felt that way for me. Like, oh man, everything this kid wanted to do is literally not going to exist tomorrow.
Wow.
I mean, it felt that, existential for filmmaking. And I know, again, I know now, knowing people in the industry now, I know it
Yeah.
felt that way to them at the time.
Yeah. So going back to the ILM thing, you were going to maybe finish that story. Like what happened? Did you end up,
Yeah, Jurassic Park happened. And I was so in my head about it that this idiot kid didn't even follow up on an invite
Gotcha.
to come walk through ILM. That's like
Gotcha.
the mecca of all of the things that I was about. That was the Holy
Yeah.
Land. I mean, and I was
Yeah.
so like
It spun
just
you.
derailed. It just spun me, man. It wrecked me.
Okay.
Me. Funny.
So thank you so much, obviously, for sharing just all that information. The teacher's name again was, I'm so sorry, I already forgot.
Norman Maul. Mr. Maul.
Norman Maul, like you go to a mall in the 80s?
I think it's I think it's Maul. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Maul. Oh, like
Maul.
Darth Maul. Okay, very
Yeah.
cool. Well, I mean, and the next part that I usually ask people is, are they still around and stuff like that? Which it sounds like
Yeah.
he is. You still engage with them?
Yeah.
If he were on this, like if he's not, this is not a surprise guest, gotcha or anything. But if he joined, I mean, what would you tell him?
Oh man, I haven't spoken words to the guy in 35 years or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's funny. I wasn't sure after I told you I watched all these interactions with him and other students and things. And so I was like thinking like, I wonder if he remembers like all of that. And I messaged him not too long ago and I just to thank him because I never had and just for caring and because like there's not a lot of high school teachers who are going to pick up a phone and call Industrial Light and Magic for you to see if you can get some kind of love from them. And it's, I've never forgotten it. And he absolutely remembered. He absolutely did. And he
awesome.
said, man, it's just unbelievable that you're actually, after all of that winding road, that you're actually, in the Hollywood land making movies. It's crazy to think about. And it's funny because sometimes I don't think about it because I'm living it and I'm just trying to, get the next thing made which is, it's just, nobody ever sees that, how nightmarish it is to get a movie to the starting line, much less across the finish line.
Everyone is a miracle. To finish up with Mr. Maul and just kind of that idea. I mean, I'm just getting started, obviously, with this podcast, but one thing that I'm running into as I start to talk to more and more diverse people in their situations, it's amazing that the teachers that seem to be the ones that have an impact on us are the ones that kind of went beyond that checkbox of, I got to make sure I teach all these things. I got to make sure I go through this lesson plan. But the one that actually saw their students as people, the one that actually reached out and said, this kid that wants to do this, I mean, I'm going to help him. I'm going to try to make some phone calls and stuff. And that's amazing. So, I also learned that I probably have to have some kind of beverage or something. Cause at the end of it, I'm always like, hey, let's raise a glass to Mr. Maul, type thing. So pour one out for him. So
that would be a good practice. That's funny.
I should. Thanks, man, for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. We hope through this podcast that not only people are inspired and just kind of encouraged by just positive stories, but also the teachers are. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world, to go in there and basically, teach just the random people that come through your classes and to try to care about them. So hopefully it encourages teachers that listen to this as well. Moving on to plugs. I mean, I don't want to pressure you, but man, I sure would love to find out what you're working on. Are you going to say, can't really talk about it yet?
I can't do it. It's
no problem.
We're probably, I would guess we're a month out from like a deadline announcement in the trades. So I would guess that. So if anybody's curious, just Google my name every now and then, and you'll find out. But we have some really big stars attached and some it's really, really, really exciting. But I totally cannot say anything right now.
Totally understand.
Get
Totally
myself in
understand. Do you
trouble.
want people to be able to reach out and find you or no?
Yeah, I guess I don't know what everybody would care to reach out and find me for, but basically the best place to get a hold of me is just darkroomfilms.com.
Cool. Darkroomfilms.com. Check it out and everything like that. Thomas, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. Honestly, this podcast could probably be 6 hours long. You and I have had some long phone conversations, that's for sure, but I really appreciate you doing it for this. And yeah, man, just have a good one. And to everybody else that's out there, yeah, man, thanks so much. And to everybody else that's just watching the podcast, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. You can obviously find out more about us in terms of just kind of the podcast that we do week after week. And just be nice to each other out there and have a good one. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.